Hello and welcome. My name is Captain Raghu Raman and I've been fortunate to have had a career that has spanned 3 different domains. I worked in the Indian Army for about 12 years and then I worked in the corporate world for about 16, and I also had the opportunity to serve in the government for 5 years. But whether it was the authoritarian style of leadership in the armed forces or the mostly incentive-driven environment of the corporates or the process-driven style of the government, I found that there were some principles of leadership that were common across all of them. And these valuable lessons of leadership could be learned from literally thousands of leaders who are all around us. But who are the people who are considered to be good leaders, whose wisdom, experience and counsel we can seek and who I believe we can all learn from? It could be an army veteran, an adventurer, a cancer survivor, a photographer or even a clown. Leadership lessons come in various shapes and forms, and we will meet all of them on the wisdom of leaders. My first guest, Vikas Manhas, has met over 500 families of soldiers who have died protecting the nation over the last 2 decades. Every year, he spends over 11 months going to the homes of brave women and men who died in the line of duty to pay his respects. He lives their loss and the trauma with the family. Vikas Manhas has become the son, the daughter, the sibling, and in some small way, he has assuaged the losses that they have suffered, and he's become part of their family. Today, we will try to find out why Vikas seeks those who have been bereaved, and in the process learn some of the most valuable lessons in leadership on how to handle losses and grief. Thanks a ton, Vikas, for making it here. And I know even to this studio you have come straight from Uri and you have come from the Rhino Post.
Yes, sir.
Before we start the whole set of your stories, I want to ask you, where did it all begin? Why did you choose? Most people find it hard to go to one funeral. They find it very, very difficult to go even to meet one family that has lost their son or daughter. And you have made it your life's mission to actually go and find each one, as many as you can, more than 500 you've already met. Where did it begin? Where did it start?
First of all, thank you for making me part of this show. Let me begin by saying like this. I belong to Jammu and Kashmir. When I was a young teenager, my hometown Bhadarwa, in one of the operations, we lost 7 soldiers. So it was the year 1994, and those days the mortal remains were not transported home as it is done today. So the cremation of those 7 soldiers were conducted in Bhadarwa only. Like many other villagers, I was also part of that cremation. So when the cremation process was going on, it stuck in my mind that when such situation arises in my family, many times the cremation is delayed. And the reason for the delay is that someone is coming from an outstation to see the person one last time. The same concern I raised with one Jawan who was standing nearby to me. If we can't take them home, why not to call their families here? Whosoever comes, we can cremate the bodies. Even it's done today or tomorrow, what difference does it make? So that time he looked towards me and he said one line to me, "Jo tum sochte ho, kash Delhi mein ye koi soche." So the very first impression which I draw that time was, probably all these families must be from in and around Delhi. Since the situation is not good here, they may be reluctant coming to Bhadarwa. So meanwhile,
it's much later you realize what he meant when he said.
Yes, after many years, the way I'm talking to you, I was discussing this with someone else. So that gentleman told me probably by Delhi he must have meant the government of India.
So this experience happened when you were just 17 years old.
Right.
And after that, by the time you became 22, you actually started going. So
I wanted to go that time only, but I was not able to find the details of these 7 soldiers. But in the Kargil war, which happened 24 years ago, all the parts of India, the troops from J&K, hailing from J&K, we lost over 50 soldiers who were from Jammu and Kashmir only. So one among them was Grenadier Uday Man Singh, hardly 19 years of age, I think 1 year, 2 years of service. So this Grenadier Uday Man Singh, he was staying in a village called Shamachak, very near to Jammu.
okay.
So when I read this news in the local newspaper, now I have a soldier's name, a village which is near to me where I can go. But the courage was not there. Now what to do, how to go, what to talk. Then one day, maybe the early days of winters, I am not sure about the date or the month, I mustered of courage that I should go on my own. So the very first visit was in the November-December 99, when I visited Shamachak village of Grenadier Uday Man Singh, who was decorated with Sena Medal.
I know that you have hundreds of stories, and I want to tell the viewers that literally hundreds of stories with facts, details, name the people, Vikas has lived them. But because we have less time, I wanted to talk about 2 or 3 stories that illustrates what is the grit and the courage that is displayed by the families of, and you've told me several stories in which is the only son.
Right.
The only son who dies, and the parents have to now, or a wife who's been recently married, or a wife who's got a child, how they pick up the pieces and where they find the grit and the strength to continue. And some of them have also, as you told me, become sort of beacons of hope for other people who have lost their loved ones. So let's begin with any one of the stories that you...
It's very difficult for me
So,
to come up with some stories. But like you mentioned, ki only son, even this Grenadier Uday Man Singh was the only son. But there are many those who were the only child. And one thing here I would like to say, people say time heals everything. वक्त के साथ हर घाव भरता है और हम life में we move on. I have seen except mother, rest all may move on, but mother always remains there, even if it's 20 years or 25 years. Like I met the mother of Captain Saurav Kalia, whose mortal remains came very mutilated from Pakistan. First time I think I met her in 2000, and last time I met her say 2 months ago. In these 24 years, I may have met her more than 100 times. So I have seen that balance of pride and pain in her. Today the pride may be here, the pain must be here, but pain is still there.
They're still there, still there.
Even if I go and meet her, she will talk about sorrow aisa tha, sorrow aisa tha. But she talks very bravely. A very small anecdote I would like to share with you people. When Sorrow was a very small child, as a school-going kid, so once coming back from school to home, he saw someone's funeral going on. So like every people must be wearing those very simple clothes.
White clothes, basically.
Generally, being on the funeral. So when he came home, he asked his mother, why they all were in just white clothes or very simple clothes, and it was very painful and very calmly they were going. So death to colorful honi chahiye.
That's what he said.
He
Death
said,
should be colorful. Yeah.
Death
Rangeen
colorful honi chahiye, rangeen honi chahiye. And that time I can't say what exactly his age was, but he was a very small school-going child. So then see the courage of the mother. Then she says further, then when he went into army, just 5 months of service, he braved all those 22 days of all the inhuman torture. Whatever bad you can do with a human body, alive human body, was done to him.
I just want to tell our viewers that Saurav Kalia, Lieutenant Saurav Kalia, was the first, in some sense, the casualty of Kargil, because he was the patrol that was sent out to find the infiltrators, and he was captured alive. The torture that he underwent, It's of course what he went through, that pain and all of that is, I mean, we can't even articulate it.
Right.
But I'm just trying to visualize the parents when they received the body.
Yes.
Their son's eyes had been gouged out. I mean, he was mutilated beyond belief.
Every bone was broken. Eyes were not there. Eardrums were not there. I think no teeth was there. Cigarette burns were there. And his parents were not shown his body. Only I think his brother has seen the body. So that was nothing to show.
So you were telling me this.
So then the auntie says, Vijaya Kalia auntie, I should name her also, कि when his funeral was there, it was colorful, the way he wanted. It was all flowers. Tiranga was there. Soldiers were in uniform. And ceremonial band was playing, the bugle was there, everyone was there. Whole Palampur, whole Himachal was there. And here I would like to say one more thing. Whenever you go to any home, we see the Tiranga in which the soldiers come home. So almost every family has preserved that Tiranga very well, and most of the families are even displayed it in some room or the other. But if you happen to go to Saurav Kalia's home, you will see Pakistani Indian flag. I say it like this because the Tiranga which was kept over Saurav's body was basically a Pakistani Indian flag. The Pakistanis has put that Tiranga over him.
On him, okay.
I was told as per the international rules, whenever the body is exchanged, you have to put it in proper coffin with the national flag of that particular country.
Okay.
So when the body of Captain Saurav Kalia and 5 his colleagues came from Pakistan, so they were in coffins, the Tiranga was there, and the Tiranga was kept by Pakistan itself. So the army handed over the same Tiranga to the family. And if you visit even today to Palampur, that Pakistani Indian flag is there,
displayed there,
which has even the blood stains or whatever you can say.
You also told me a story which is of an officer whose parents are here in Delhi, and those of you who have an opportunity, you can also go to the petrol pump which is run by their parents.
Yeah, Meena auntie. Yeah.
And Meena auntie, as you told me, always feeds you whenever you go to the house.
Not me.
No, not just you, anybody who comes to the house.
Yes, yes.
I want you to tell the story of why that mother feeds anybody who comes to the house as much as that person can eat.
Yes, मैं आप कैप्टन अनुज नायर की बात कर रहे हैं. He was just 23 जब वो कारगिल में लड़े. 17 जाट के थे. He was commissioned into 17 जाट, and he belongs to that very famous या infamous 90 NDA 100 IMA बैच जिनकी बहुत ज़्यादा कैजुअलिटीज़ हैं.
Because they immediately went to.
Yes, जो एक उसका अक्सर सोशल मीडिया पे भी उनके बाकी के जो कोर्समेट्स हैं वो कुछ लिखते रहते हैं. तो जो मेरी इन्फॉर्मेशन है मैं उसके अनुसार आपको बताता हूँ. अभी एक बुक 2 साल पहले आंटी ने ही उसके ऊपर लिख के एक हिम्मत सिंह शेखावत हैं, दोनों ने मिलकर एक बुक लिखी है, टाइगर ऑफ द्रास, एज ही फॉट इन मुश्को वैली विच इज इन द्रास. तो उस बुक के रिसर्च करने के सिलसिले में मुझे भी इन सब लोगों के साथ 17 जाट यूनिट में एक बार जाने का मौका मिला. तो वहाँ पे वी मेट दो सोल्जर्स हु फॉट विद कैप्टन अनुज नायर लॉन्ग बैक इन 99. तो उसमें से एक जवान ने ये बताया कि हमें जब मुश्को वैली में हमें ले गए तो हमें पिंपल फीचर के ऊपर अटैक करना था, जो बिल्कुल 0.487 के नीचे था. 0.4875 जो बड़ा वेरी फेमस है, कैप्टन विक्रम बत्रा वेंट एंड वी लॉस्ट हिम देयर, ही कैप्चर्ड ऑल दैट 13 जैकरीफ का था. उसके नीचे वाला फीचर ये 17 जाट को कैप्चर करना था. और इनको उस फीचर के थोड़ी सी नीचे एक जगह थी जिसको वेल बैक बोलते हैं, उसको एज ए अपना फर्म बेस बना के फाइनल वो असॉल्ट लॉन्च करना था. अब जब ये वेल बैक की तरफ जा रहे थे, ये जो पर्टिकुलर जवान थे, इनको ये लगा कि शायद वहाँ पे किचन नहीं होगा, खाना शायद हो ना हो. तो जैसे कि वो जाट सोल्जर थे तो उसके पास काफ़ी सारा घी पड़ा हुआ था, देसी घी जो घर का था. तो उसने देसी घी में कुछ आटे को मतलब कि वो गूंद के ही मेड सम रोटीज आउट ऑफ इट, और उन्होंने उस किसी में तो लिफाफे में डाल के ही पुट दैट इन.
डाल के ले गए.
हाँ. अब जब वो वेल बैक पहुंचे तो ही कुड सी कि नेक्स्ट डे वहाँ किचन भी पहुंच गया, खाने का सामान समून भी आ गया। सो देन ही था कि अब 2-3 दिन की तो ये पुरानी रोटियां हो गई हैं, अब तो किचन भी है,
लंगर आ
और
गया।
हाँ लंगर तो आ गया है, और कल शाम को तो हम असॉल्ट कर ही रहे हैं, अब इसकी इतनी जरूरत नहीं है। तो वो थोड़ा सा कहीं आगे जाके ना उनको किसी पत्थर के पीछे जस्ट थ्रोज देम आउट कि अब आई डोंट नीड इट। लेकिन असॉल्ट करने में उनको कुछ दिन लग गए। बाकी जो कल का प्लानिंग था वो शायद 2-3 दिन या 4 दिन तक वो नहीं कर पाए फॉर सम टेक्निकल रीजंस। तो लंगर का जो सामान आया था वो खत्म हो गया। अब वहां पे तो कुछ था नहीं। तो असॉल्ट से एक दिन पहले अनुज नायर सभी को पूछता है कि यार किसी के पास कुछ खाने का है क्या? तो ही इज द ओनली वन, ही सेज कि मेरे पास है पर मैं रात को दूंगा, दिन को आई कांट गिव इट टू यू। तो वो कहता है भाई ऐसा क्यों, भूख तो अभी लगी है। तो ये सेज कि वो जहाँ पे पड़ा है अगर मैं लेने जाऊं तो आई विल बी हिट बाय द एनिमी सोल्जर्स। तो वो शाम होने का इंतजार करते हैं। जब शाम को थोड़ा सा अंधेरा होता है तो ही वेंट अप टू दैट पर्टिकुलर स्टोन, तो वो थोड़ा ऐसे हाथ वाथ से करके ही कुड गेट दैट लिफाफा या जो भी कुछ था, पोटली जो उसने वहां फेंकी थी। अब वो वापस लेके आते हैं। वो रोटियां वो कहते हैं कि वो इतनी सख्त हार्ड हो गई थी कि अब वो अब दांत से तोड़ नहीं सकते। तो इन्होंने उसको पत्थर पे रख के उसको पत्थर से समझो कूटा, उसको दोबारा एक आटे की फॉर्म में लेके आए, उसको थोड़ा पानी से ऐसे घोला या गीला किया एंड दे एट इट। अब उस जवान ने ये कन्फर्म नहीं किया था कि अनुज ने भी वो खाया था या नहीं खाया था, बट द थिंग इज दैट अगर वो खाया था तो वो प्रोबेबली उसका लास्ट मील था। बट नो वन इज श्योर कि वेदर ही हैज टेकन इट आर नॉट। तो आंटी को एक ये है, मीना आंटी को, कि मेरा बेटा शायद उस लॉस्ट असॉल्ट में भी ना भूखा ही गया था, पेट भर के। अगर उसने वो खाया भी होगा तो क्या खाया होगा, कितना ही खाया होगा। तो जब मैं जाता हूँ, अगर मैं कहूँ अगर आप भी जाएंगे या कोई भी आंटी के पास जाता है, शी इज़ वेरी वेलकमिंग। वो बहुत अच्छे से आपको रिसीव करेंगी और इतना खिलाएंगे कि अब आप कहोगे कि बस आंटी अब खाया ही नहीं जा रहा। तो ये अनुज नायर की लास्ट मील की ये कहानी है। और यहाँ पे मैं छोटी सी, अगर आप अलो करें, मैं बताना चाहूँगा, जो आप पेट्रोल पंप की बात कर रहे थे, तो कारगिल में दे गिव पेट्रोल पंप या गैस एजेंसीज टू ऑलमोस्ट टू एवरीवन। तो एक दिन दिल्ली विद्युत बोर्ड का वेरी सीनियर ऑफिसर, प्रोबेबली द चीफ, केम टू दैट पेट्रोल पंप इन हिज कार। और जैसे कि कार में तेल भरते हैं, तो देन ही सेड टू दैट अंकल कि पैसों के लिए या पेट्रोल पंप के लिए कोई भी किसी का बाप या बेटा बन जाता है। क्या प्रूफ है कि अनुज नायर आपका बेटा था? दिस वाज टोल्ड टू द फादर। तो एक वो ब्रीफ केस लेके आए, उसमें 2 फोटोग्राफ्स थी। He showed him the 2 photographs. He said this is the first photograph clicked in 1975 when Anuj was born, और पहली बार जब मैंने उसको गोद में लिया हुआ है। And the second photograph was in 1999 when we lost Anuj Nair। तो अंकल ने कहा था कि मैं उसको ना उठा के उसके रूम में थोड़ी देर के लिए लेके गया था कि let him be in his room for a while। तो उसका भी शायद किसी ने फोटोग्राफ क्लिक किया होगा। He said these are the 2 photographs। If these 2 photographs can't prove that he was my son, I am afraid no father can prove that so and so is his son।
ये आपके 24 साल में इस जर्नी में जिसमें you have seen many different parents, you have seen their grief, you have met sisters, you have met wives who were, what have you learned in terms of leadership of these people who have lost their most loved ones but are still leading their lives?
बिफोर आंसरिंग दिस क्वेश्चन, मैं छोटी सी एक बात आपसे कहना चाहूँगा। जैसे कि बहुत बड़ा प्लेटफॉर्म है और इस चीज़ के ऊपर बड़ी कम बात होती है। डिसेबल्ड कैडेट्स, वो कैडेट्स जो एकेडमी में वाइल ट्रेनिंग सम इंजरीज हैपन और उन्हें फौज से बाहर आना पड़ता है,
बोर्ड आउट हो जाते हैं।
कुछ इतने फिट होते हैं कि वो फौज के लिए फिट नहीं होते, बट फॉर सिविल दे आर फिट एंड दे डू वंडर्स। देयर आर सो मेनी, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली कुछ ऐसे बाहर आते हैं जैसे 100% डिसेबल्ड होके कि बाहर भी वो कुछ करना मुश्किल होता है। उनमें से एक है कैडेट शुभम गुप्ता। वो एनडीए में थे, आई थिंक इन 4th या 5th टर्म, व्हेन ही जंप्ड इनटू द स्विमिंग पूल फॉर सम, जो भी कुछ वो कर रहे थे, ही ब्रोक हिज कॉलर बोन C5। तब से वो इसके नीचे 100% पैरालाइज्ड है, इसके ऊपर कंप्लीटली फिट है। तो उसकी मम्मी ने 6-7 साल उसके साथ बहुत स्ट्रगल किया, कर रही हैं। सरकार से हमें कुछ नहीं मिलता। पहले तो बड़ा कम स्टाइपेंड मिलता था, अब बढ़ के वो 20-30 हज़ार रुपये शायद हुआ है, और उसके सर्वाइवल ही के लिए 50-60 हज़ार हमें हर महीने चाहिए, खर्चा करना पड़ता है। उसके बावजूद उसका जो छोटा भाई था 7 साल के बाद आंटी इंश्योर्ड कि वो आर्मी में जाए। जो आप लीडर्स की बात करते हैं, शी इज़ वन ऑफ द लीडर्स। तो जो आपने मुझे पूछा था कि मैंने क्या सीखा, तो मैं एक चीज़ अक्सर कहता हूँ कि धरती पे हम जब इसमें जन्म लेते हैं ना, इट्स सेड कि हमें कुछ अपने कर्म ठीक करने होते हैं। तो वी हैव टू गो थ्रू पेन, वी हैव टू गो थ्रू अदर थिंग्स सो दैट हम अपने आप को ठीक करें। कि भगवान को आपको तकलीफें, कष्ट, दुख देना ही है। तो मेरा ये मानना है, जब आप धरती पे आते हो, अगर आप दूसरों का दर्द समझो, उसके दर्द के साथ जूझो, उसका कष्ट लो, तो भगवान देखता है ये कष्ट ले ही तो रहा है, दर्द सह ही तो रहा है, इसको अब इसका देने की जरूरत नहीं है। और जो आदमी किसी का कष्ट नहीं समझता, फिर भगवान उसको तो कष्ट देगा ही,
स्पेशल देगा,
फिर उसी को देना पड़ेगा। तो इफ यू अंडरस्टैंड द पेन, ग्रीफ of someone else, go through that, live with that, God will not give you your own pain and grief.
I think it's Vikas, thanks a ton for coming here, and for our viewers, Vikas, what he is doing is not something that only Vikas can do. I think all of us can do, and we may not have to travel from one end of the country to the other. All around us, if you just take a little bit of effort, you will be able to find out if there are martyrs, there are fallen soldiers, there are people who are in need, who have served the nation. This example of a mother who's sending her younger son after losing the first one, and seeing that person a paraplegic, she still has I think there is a great lesson, not just of leadership, but also of recognizing how blessed we are. And thanks a ton, Vikas, for, I mean, I've heard these stories before from you, but each time I hear, and I've been a soldier, each time I hear, it's almost reliving the pain all over again. And what you're doing is just incredible. And I wish you all the best. And I hope you'll come back here again.
Sure.
And for all our viewers, Vikas is very much on social media, and you can find him very easily. And I would request you that if you're not able to help him in his really noble vision and mission, at least you are able to support him in that. Thanks a ton, Vikas, for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.